Hello, everybody. This is Pete from PA Labs. And this morning I'm going to do a video on the PureBasic requesters. But I want to start it out with a hidden secret trick I don't think I've actually put on a video yet. And what I'm going to do is show you how to cheat and kind of create a project easily. Now, what I've already done is I've created this little awesome, cool little GUI with a whole bunch of buttons and a whole bunch of, these are all text fields. None of these are actually strings. I just made them look like strings. So, but the idea is that we're going to go down the list here and click buttons, and then I'll take the result of the find file or what have you and stick it in the text, find a folder, get some input, color requester, font requester, that sort of thing. So I've created this. I've gone ahead and, I've created the project here. Let's see. I have not added these two guys. So I've already run my little ICE processor guy. So we can add these into the project. And so now I'm sitting here, I'm actually ready to write code. Now, I have gone whoppingly ahead and put up a comment block and put my includes for the constants in the windows. But what I'm going to do now is hold down Control and hit the letter B, as in boy, and that's my shortcut for ClassBuilder. Okay. Now, I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say, yeah, just create folders only. Now, this project, I don't want to honestly create a database for. It doesn't have any place in here. So you could be saying, why on earth do you want to use ClassBuilder? And I'm, again, this kind of comes back to a cheat, secret hidden piece here. If we say create, you have two sides of this application, okay? You have a database guy, and the database guy wants a table up here, some sort of name. For the moment, I'm going to use requester. So I'm going to create a requester, and then I'm going to just hit tab and let requester come in as a table, or I can say, there's no table here. And he goes out and finds my form, okay, which is good because I want him to find the form. But I don't really have a parent, and ClassBuilder is going to make me select a list, so I'm going to choose no list. Now, what I want to show you is there's two aspects to this. If I don't fill in any of, or I don't really put anything of value here, you have to have a form to go with a table. Otherwise, why would you have a table, I guess? So you build a form to go with a table, or select a form to go with a table. You can come down here and build a table, which would be great. We can put in key fields and name fields, and then go ahead and save it, and I can build a database layer, okay, without actually really doing anything with the form. Or I can build a form supporting sheet to a form without ever having built a table, which is what I'm going to do here. So I'm kind of doing this for the other half. So if I come over here and there's this build template, and what that's going to do is build a requester for my form. Okay, now the form, as you've seen, is this form right here, and I've exported it and it's all there. Everybody's happy. So if I build this and then say, okay, go ahead and export it, and that's all I use ClassBuilder for. Okay, now I can come out here. This is where things kind of get kind of fun. We can come out here to views now, and I have that requester form. Okay, so all we need to do now is clean it up. Okay, well, we're not going to save anything. We're not going to create or modify. All I really want this for is display my form, and that's about it. I don't even want center child. You don't need to do any of that junk. I don't even need you to do this. So, but he gives me all of my set screen. We have all our variables. He gives me an entire uh, control loop, and I don't need any of this junk. I can just go ahead and delete all of these that he put out there, and under the hope that I might use them. I don't need save. All I really want this for is to open and close, and that's it. So there we go. I've got my sheet. As a matter of fact, if I wanted, I could well, let's see. We could cut all this out of here and I could paste it back over here and start with that. Or I could use this as a launcher program and just simply call this guy and be done with it. Okay. So let's add him to the project, and then we'll come over here and say, okay, call that. And that's the end of that whole program, right? Now I need to come up here and X include this, and we can say, what is that? This is views, views, and FRM requester PBI. All right. So I believe we're probably okay just to hit play. Oh, wait, this is a project. That's right. So I forget this one step on projects every single time I build a project, you know? Uh, and also if you if you leave this off, let's come in here and put this in. Okay, because believe it or not, that's kind of a required field. We can say, okay, if you come over here and say build all targets, well, you don't have a target unless you have an executable. Watch this. This is kind of fun. I learned this the other day. I had put that first piece in and left that off. And then I came over and said, okay, compiler, build all targets. And I get an error. And I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And the error is you have no output executable file. So I thought that was kind of funny. So basically, both of these are required fields. You can still run. You can run your program, and it builds a default PureBasic exe, kind of a BS sort of title thrown in if you don't give it. But if you want it to actually build, then you got to supply an executable. Oops, that's right. I left this off. We got to delete that too. See, ClassBuilder is expecting this to be a database form, and well, it's not because we don't have a database. So he builds a definition up here, a define for our database, and then shares it into the various modules automatically, and which we don't need to do. And where are we doing now? Open window is not a function, array, or list. Why not? Oh, ha, ha, ha. Oh, the thread of execution. Don't we just absolutely love it? Okay, put stuff in the proper order, Pete, and you'll be amazed at how well it executes. Ah, we have no parent. That's true. We have no parent. So we need to kill that. So all that does is exit. Okay, so it's there's our form. So um, this is kind of a cheat that I wanted to show you from ClassBuilder. And a lot of times you want a control loop and you want a control loop and you don't want to have to write the dadgum thing from scratch. Maybe you got, like I do here, I've got a window. I just want to display a window and I want a control loop that's got all the fields on this window. That window could have, 200 fields on it for all I know. And to sit here and copy all of the gadget requester text file path, blah, 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 it gets really old and tiresome. This gives you the event loop, and it's pretty slick, I think, how easily you can just do that. One of the things I use this little trick for all the time is when, like on cross-reference tables. Cross-reference tables, normally you can kind of build a screen for it, or it's oftentimes they're just check boxes or something like that, so it doesn't really count. But I have screens that are in or tables that are encompassed in other screens and whatnot, or I just want a screen to ask questions. Maybe like in the war game here recently, the other day I was building the configuration screen. In the configuration screen, the wargame player has no database. So what I did was I turned it into a JSON file and saved it as a startup load INI kind of file where the program loads. We go out and grab your last settings, and so you have a configuration screen, but you don't have a database. So I could come out here to ClassBuilder real easily and um, go ahead and create a table, but I don't care. I mean, the name matters up here because that becomes the name of the sheet, FRM requester. That's where the name comes from. And then attach to the form that I just built, and I get an automatic control loop, and I get a bunch of extra stuff that I don't need or care about. So I just blow it all away real quick, and now I have a full working control loop, and it cost me literally no time whatsoever. So that's a trick with ClassBuilder. A second trick with ClassBuilder would be to do the reverse, to come out here and let's take our table and let's go ahead and say requester. And let's say I don't have a table, okay, or I don't have a form. I just want to build a database layer, okay? So if you create a form, it doesn't even have to be anything major, just really a name, something in your program structure that says, hey, open this window, you know, then ClassBuilder will find it and say he looks for all your PBs and he goes through all of your files in your project looking for create windows and stuff like that, and he's looking for the actual commands here. So that's how he knows, like this sentence right here: if open window, open parenthesis, and then some sort of enumeration of some kind. Okay, he's looking for this open window command. If he finds that anywhere in any of your files, he'll say, hey, I found a window. I'm going to go through here and see what all the junk that you put on your window and go grab it all for you to go play with. All right. Now, as long as you got that somewhere, you can come out here and I could build a table that's maybe it's an FTP table. Okay. Maybe I want a FTP table. All right. I can attach it to anything I want. We can, well, since it's going to really be a table, we probably should put this in here. So I can just tab it and hit that. And I can come up with this guy as whatever form. Now, you can't, you can say no form, no parent, no list, and don't worry about it. Those two fields are only used for the code behind the form. Basically, the code we just created and hooked up for the demo I'm fixing to do on Requester. But over here, I can say FTP table, right? Oh, wait, this is already the table, duh. We can say we want an ID, and I can come out here and define my table just the way I want. All right. Oops, there we go. And we can put name and we can do all kinds of various, we can literally build this out any way you want and say, okay, go ahead and save it. We've got a table. I don't have to build the code behind the form. All I want to do is to build my SQL layer so I can go run that in SQL. And then guess what? I want to build my table definition. And I want to be able to call this from whatever code I want to write. I just don't want to be locked into your forms and whatnot, okay? So you can build an entire database layer with ClassBuilder and totally ignore your forms. Or you can ignore the database and you can build your control loops and whatnot on any form you like. The penalty involved in this, I guess, if there's a penalty, is if you build the form like I did, you got to go through and delete some extra stuff that you don't really care about. We don't care about a create, modify, delete, save, and all of that junk. All I wanted was the control loop, really. So I got a control loop. It's an easy call. I've got what? 150 lines of code here or 100 lines of code. What is that? 105 lines of code. And I got it for free without having to write it. And it syncs up to my table for me. So I don't have to jump back and forth and look up all my the gadget names and all the enumeration stuff. So that really concludes this video. It's tricks and cheats. I guess cheats is really the wrong word, on using ClassBuilder to your benefit. And for the pieces you understand or the pieces you want to use. So that really concludes the video, and I want to thank you all for watching.